When we start getting lost in the past or future, we lose energy. Our bodies have no choice but to bring our attention back through pain. And it's not intentional, but that's one of the things that happen when we leave our body too long. Then eventually our body has to call for you, okay, come back. And sometimes it starts with aches, but sometimes it pains. Sometimes it could be a little bit more serious, but that is also a gateway to area that we need to look at in finding our soul.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Sovereign Self Show, where you learn your body and your energy are not in the way, they are leading the way to your success, to your mission, to your purpose. And today we have a beautiful, shining example of that. Banya Lim is a multi generational healer and energy coach with over 30 years' experience, an acupuncturist and Oriental medicine practitioner. She developed the Chi Mastery System, a profound and transformative energy coaching program. Grounded in energy awareness, somatic work, and meditation, this program empowers individuals to clear energetic blocks, align with their life goals, and thrive. Well, welcome to the show, Bonnie. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I know I always say, let's just dive right in and trust whatever comes up. But before we do that, how did you have over 30 years experience of this work, and I'm sure you've changed so much over those 30 years. What really got you into doing this work? What was your own spiritual or hero's journey that led you to what you do today?
I was just thinking about this before our talk, just sitting there in my sofa. Everything that I've discovered, everything that I've learned, like really truly learned about healings, awakening, it was all started with me. And I just felt such a profound gratitude for everything that I've gone through, especially all those, difficult times, me little suffering from like physical ailments to depression and all of those. Of course, while you're going through them, it's not fun, but it helped me to be where I am, but also helped me to really truly search the solutions and answers and healing. Um, of course, you have enough compassion to want to help others, but when yourself going through it, it's really it's real. You know what that feels like, and you know how even the little thing triggers something, but also even the little things help you as well. So I had like such a like profound gratitude for everything that has happened to me up to this point. Um, yeah, from clinically depressed to having depression to having all kinds of physical ailments when I was younger. I have to say I'm much more healthier now in my 50s than when I was in my 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I seem to that's in my life too. I'm in my mid 30s and I feel like I just keep getting healthier and more vibrant. Um, the physical symptoms of the spiritual awakening, I find a lot of old souls, a lot of the women I work with that listen to this podcast, and it sounds like you too, have trouble. I don't want to say trouble, but part of our spiritual awakening is through the body. It's the embodiment, but a lot of that comes with some sort of a lot of digestion issues, but some type of a physical autoimmune, like you also mentioned, depression, anxiety. It's very 3D body based. What in your own experience in the work that you do um, with chi and the meridians, how has that really shifted your own health?
First I came from family with a lot of healers within my family
Mm,
in my lineage, and many of them practice Oriental medicine and acupuncture. And of course, I had to go to school to get a license and all that. And what I realized is that answers have been around me, around us all along. It's just right there. And it's funny that we don't get to really see it unless you go through something. And when you really decide, like conscious decision to like, I'm going to find answers. And this, every, the things that you looking at it all your life start to make sense. And you start to really understand what that is. And same thing with Oriental medicine and acupuncture. My family has been practicing it. And my mom has been telling you about so many things over the years. And I guess I haven't really digest what she was saying. But when I was going through many things and when I was searching for answers, things start to drop in. It's like these numbers have been around me. Now I finally see that, okay, 1 plus 2 is 3 and so on. All this number has been there all along. And, and especially with acupuncture and Oriental medicine. I mean, it's more than 5,000 years history with us and in data and books and things like that. But I realized that a lot of practitioners don't really see the truth and answers, the gems, what's in front of them, because they only see right here. They don't really see the meaning and the spiritual root behind it. And I realized that that's what my mom was trying to bring back. She always said that the spiritual aspect of healing has been lost over the years, and I never really truly understand what that means. Because acupuncture especially, it's not only about really treating the physical body, we're actually working on mind, body, and spirit, but we end up getting lost in just the physical part. And our bodies have been telling us stories constantly, all the time. And there are two main theories governs acupuncture: yin and yang theories and five element theories. Yin and yang basically saying one cannot exist without the other. It's a contradicting but also counterbalancing. So if there's up, there's down. If there's a left side, there's a right side. There's darkness, there has to be light, and so on. But that's just the basic. Five elements, based on five elements, five elements affect organs, emotions, and so on. For example, there are wood, metal, earth, fire, water. Wood organs are liver and gallbladder, and its emotion is anger. And the direction is east side of the house. And the color is green. And our body is constantly telling us what to do, what to wear, what to eat, what direction of your house, which direction of your house need to be organized and cleaned out. Like if good example is someone who has a liver issue, their east side of the house is always messy. Just by it's because that's the basic feng shui. Just by cleaning the east side of the house, you start to feel better. This basic stuff is information out there, but our body is constantly actually giving us clues. So if we start paying attention to what our body is saying and become intuitive and become intuitive to what's going on, we just naturally do what feels right for us and start creating that flow. And I think when I start to see what's in front of me, I realize all the things that I've experienced so far, that I start to see all those clues. All those clues have been there all along. I just haven't seen it. I haven't really realized, have an awareness of it.
Yes, and I think for me that's been so similar too. It's like when it's almost like the puzzle pieces all come together and you're like, "Wow, those things have always been there, but now I see how they fit together." Um, and I love how you described that's what we're about here is that yes, it's a physical part of healing, but the spiritual part. And that's really what it's calling us for is to the embodiment of who we really are, that divine self, but in the human form. And I know a lot of people listening, there's this balance here of, our own spiritual healing, awakening journeys. But the women, the people who are listening to the show are also like us, have their own businesses and some type of a healing modality. And there's this balance between pursuing your goals and also, that spiritual inward ascension path. So I know you work with a lot of clients of working with that balance of how to manifest or achieve those goals through the awareness of our own energy and our body. So I would love to hear, your take on that, how you help other clients, and maybe also in your own business, in your life, how has that shifted with your goals and your business?
I think awareness is the beginning of everything. And in my beginning of my own healing practice, based on also my mom was trying to teach me, we are more than just body, but we can get just lost in just the body part. So, like I just say, there's a direct correlation between our emotion as a five basic emotion to each organ within the body, and that gets connected to meridians or energy lines within the body. So in my beginning of my practice, I will just simply share with my clients, if someone comes in with chronic back pain, the spine or the back is connected to kidneys and bladder meridians, and their emotion is fear. There are specific acupressure points that I can work on, but also there are some qigong and tai chi movement that you can help with. Anyway, in the beginning, I would just simply share with them, there's a correlation between the fear and the back pain. I'm just sharing this with you because this is what I know. I know there's just more than just what's going on a physical level. It's actually the people and my clients, the one that have gave me information and give me insights to what was going on within the body. But me being just simply sharing, because I was very young, then they're simply sharing with me. When I think about it, the day when I start to have a back pain, I was really scared of losing my son because he was in a hospital, whatever that might be. And they were simply start sharing the information and start giving me their insights and their awareness. And I start to put, two and two together. Then I will share with my mom. At the time, she was still alive. I mean, she knew about it, but when I started putting things together, and she said, yes, of course, we are more than the body. Unless we address mind, body, and spirit, we are not really truly giving a deep, truly true healing. We cannot just looking at the physical body trying to take care of the pain or ailments and so on. So that's how my journey started it. And I really am grateful for those of you who are open to share with me on what they were going through and what's going on, and start to have awareness, developing awareness with me about us, a multidimensional being. And one other thing happened beginning of my practice was that I started to use a lot of ghost point and a lot of spiritual points. There are 365 acupuncture points in the body, 365 major points in the body, and each point is connected to each day in a year, but also relationship to day, year, month, date, and time that you're born. And we can actually prescribe based on your star chart as well. That's connected to I Ching, but I don't want to get too complicated on that. But when they start giving me this information, I understand that there's so much more than just 365 points in the body that I can stick the needles to help them help them with their physical issues. One other thing happened during the beginning of my practice was when I started using this spiritual point, some of the spiritual acupuncture points on out of 365 points. One of my first clients had a spontaneous past life regression. And this is something I was completely not expected. I wasn't prepared for it and I didn't know what was going on. And she had a chronic pain in her body. She has gone through all kinds of different healing modalities, and she actually could afford to do anything because she had a big inheritance, so she can actually spend money to do anything. So she practically did everything to try to work on that pain. Once after the acupuncture session, when she come out of it, she told me about her regression, and she told me the connection between that, because it was on a scapular connection to her past life experience. What if you want to go into little detail? It was about her brother at the time, which is her husband in current life, shot a arrow to her scapula, and that's how she passed away. Now she's in this current relationship with her husband, which was her brother in past life, going through the same emotional turmoil. And whenever that happened, she would have a pain. But she did all kinds of different imagings done, but they couldn't find anything. But she actually had a legitimate pain in her body. When she saw that, and when she got to release that energy, she came out of it. She walked out of my office without pain, which is pain that she suffered from 10 years, for the last 10 years. So after she left, I just sat there like an hour trying to figure out what just happened. This was about 30 years ago. This is how I explore past life regression, and also work with the Dolores canons and so on. I wasn't going to talk about past life regression, but I'm talking about my beginning of experience as an acupuncturist. So there's different aspect of this to drop into my life to explore. Yes, we are truly an amazing being. We are more than just this body. My mom talking about mind, body, and spirit. But there's something else is going on. This is my journey started with exploring something much deeper.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I always trust that conversations need to go where they need to go. And yeah, it's so crazy that, we're these multidimensional spiritual beings in this physical existence, and how those bleed overs from different realities come through. And I almost feel like for my journey, and I hear a lot of women too say, it was supposed to happen almost. It was here to teach us a lesson maybe we didn't learn in the past life, or opened you up, like you said, as a practitioner, into the possibility of what's possible through the healing work that you do. Is it, working with energy, whether it is through the meridians or chi that you work with, is it always related to past life, do you see? Or is it because all of our power is right now? But, my belief in realizing that's part of the lesson, and that's part of what sovereignty means for me now. It doesn't matter what lifetime it came from. It might be interesting and help us learn, but we have all the power right now in this very moment to heal and to become who we're supposed to be.
Absolutely. I think we hold energy of past, present, and future right now, at this moment, in this body. Um, this is why being present and finding way to staying here now is so important. That because through that you get to connect to all facets of who you are. But our mind, energy goes, our mind goes, as you know, right? We tend to get lost in the past or in the future. And we literally lose our energy when we do that. almost like I feel like our life is designed to pull our energy to either direction. When we truly bring ourselves from all this energy to be here now, present, whatever you do, a meditation is for me is the one of most powerful way to bring myself into the moment of right now. When you bring your energy into here, you really truly bring all the facets of who you are to right now to be able to work with, but also create enough energy to bring healing to your physical body, mind, and spirit. So bringing energy into here is, I think, is one of the most important things that we can do it, and most healing things we can do it for ourselves.
Yes, I completely agree. And I know the times I've had mystical experiences, energetic experiences, or healing experiences, it's been because of the presence of now, and nothing else exists in those moments except for right now. And it's almost been like, I want that. You want that now to keep extending, extending, extending. But it is, it's so interesting. You hear these age old wisdoms like be here now, be present. And I think it's more popular now in the West, with social media, and everything. It's really almost everyday talk. But these simple things are actually the keys to healing and to embodiment and tuning into your energy. So, a lot of our listeners, like I said, have their own businesses, and they're balancing that spiritual aspect of themselves, but also, as you know, building a business and creating social media and advertising and all this stuff kind of brings you out of kilter at times. It's its own spiritual experience. So for the fellow spiritual business owners like yourself, what can they do to really bring their energy back to the present, back to the center, and back to their sovereignty?
I think it's all about building a relationship with ourselves. And ultimately, I think it is about, it sounds so cliche, but truly loving who we are. And I know in our modern life, we have so many distractions. We get pulled to all different directions. We're literally losing energy, social media, TV, friends, and everything. When we get to bring all of that to bring it here right now, we'll gather powerful energy. Literally, you can be able to build energy within your body. And there's a few of the acupressure points in the body, and also matching with some of the chakra area. You can literally gather energy to utilize the way you want. But with all the distraction going in our life, one of the first thing that we can think about is building a relationship with ourselves. We think about building relationship with friends and families and stuff like that to create friendships and whatnot, but we don't think about building relationship with ourselves. So that can be done with many different things, doing the things that bring you sense of content and joy. It could be swimming, it could be dancing, it could be making something with your hands, it could be cooking, whatever that might be. But sitting with yourself, even just 5 minutes a day, the reason I really, really believe that so many of my clients always complain to me like, I cannot meditate, Banya. I don't have a time. You really cannot make 10 minutes out of 24 hours in a day. The reason is that they have a hard time being with themselves. It's uncomfortable because they haven't done it in a long time. But when you start okay, no matter how uncomfortable it is, you just sit with yourself. Literally think of yourself. Okay, when you sit with your friends and family, you're sitting with yourself. Like, okay, across from yourself. Okay, how's your day? How's your day gonna be? Just in your mind, just ask that question. Start with the 5 minutes. And you start to feel all kinds of different things. And of course, our monkey minds go haywire, think of all kinds of things that you have to do. And you can actually have a conversation with that parts as well. So I always say, think about having a relationship with yourself. Think meditation is about you sitting with yourself across from each other to just having a dialogue.
Mm.
And if any issues come up, I love why. I love why. Ask question. People have so many things going in their life, like, but I have to do this, I have to do that. But my sister-in-law is doing this, my husband's doing all kinds of things. Then you become very reactive, especially the things that you become very reactive about. Ask why. Why is that happening? What's the reason? And we these days in new age, we talk about things don't happen to us but happen for us. We hear that a lot. So that if that is happening for me, then why? Question of why rather than being reactive is so helpful, because the moment you ask why, you 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 get separate from that event and that reaction. But when you become reactive, you become that energy. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does to me. I think I totally makes sense because it helps you take a step back, take a
Yes.
little bit broader perspective instead of
Mhm.
being caught up in the energy. You're able to observe it, as a scientist, almost is how I like to look at it. Because as a scientist, I think, well, it's less reactive. Hopefully, doesn't have any judgment over what's happening, but it allows us to just witness ourselves, our energy, our thoughts,
Mhm.
our patterns that are coming up for us to be seen, really.
Yes. I think the moment you ask why, rather than getting lost in there, you can start separating from that, what that is triggering you.
Mm, yeah. And I think,
Yeah.
like, going back to the presence, being present now, asking why, it's these really simple things that actually are like the most profound part of healing. I know a lot of in my journey too, it's like I want to get into the spiritual part and the energetics and, really into different techniques. But what I found is it comes back to your emotions, it comes back to your thoughts, it comes back to being present, asking questions, asking why. Um, what are some other shifts that you find for your clients and yourself that we might be overlooking because it is so simple
Mm,
that it really leads to profound healing and
yeah.
embodiment?
And also in our world, we know that everything really does happens for a reason. But while you're in it, it doesn't feel like it and it doesn't feel good. And especially when you have actually, if it's when it's painful in the body. But everything does happen for a reason. So when you start asking why, and you will start to find answers, because whatever is happening in your body to bring your attention to, that is the gateway to your soul. If your husband is triggering you, that is such a gateway to your own pain, then eventually to your soul. If you have a back pain, that is also gateway, because our bodies, all our bodies want is for us to pay attention and be present. And when we start getting lost in the past or future, we lose energy. And our bodies have no choice but to bring our attention back through pain. And it's not intentional. It just happened. But that's one of the things that happen when we leave our body too long. Then eventually our body has to call for you, okay, come back. And sometimes it could start with aches, but sometimes it pain. Sometimes it could be a little bit more serious, but it's a way of trying to let us look at what we need to look at. But that is also a gateway to area that we need to look at in finding our soul.
Yes, I totally agree. It's the gateway, the portal to everything we want, our soul, our divinity, to God. And when we're going through things, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. But I know for me, when I know one of those periods in my life of growth, kind of the other side of it, when I can look back with gratitude versus the reaction versus the trigger and all that stuff, I know that everything was happening for me. And it could be anything, like you said, physical pain, being triggered by another person. And you know what I've found through the work I do in my own journey, it can be being visible online, sharing your heart's message. All of these are opportunities for us to really ask those questions, ask why, and to come back to our own divinity. So in terms of, you know, a lot of women I know, it's a whole other spiritual experience when we start sharing our hearts and our message with the world. A whole nother layer comes up in terms of being seen, being visible in the world. And a lot of people might even call them witch wounds, which are a lot of the past lives coming up there.
Mm-hmm.
In your practice or in your life, Banya, what have you seen that really helps you anchor in your mission and your confidence to be able to speak your truth and share that with the world?
Once in a while, I let go of everything. I kind of planned out what I'm gonna do for this week, this month, or this year, making goals for this and this and that. Um, but it's also good to have a moment of just letting go of all that and just trust. And especially things go out of alignment. It feels like going out of alignment, and also feels like going off course. You plan to go this way, but certain events happen in your life. You know, you have to get off from the plan that you're on. But really trusting that, I think, is the key, and trusting where you're at. And I live in Sedona, and I people think that we live in a desert, but actually we have a lot of water around us. And even in middle of the winter, going there, sometimes even going to the water, and it helps me clear of whatever that kind of clutter that's in my head, and help me to clear that energy.
Yeah, I think for thank you for sharing. It is a lot about setting the intention and then letting it go and trusting that, you know, your higher self, God, divine, whatever you want to call it, is there helping you. And I actually, my perspective is, you know, best co-created partner is God. That's the only one that really is. And that includes with your business too, is like you got the best business partner out there. Yes, yourself, but the divine. And a lot of that is setting the intention and letting it go and trusting that it's all coming through you, coming to you, just
Mhm.
like we said, everything's happening for you.
Mhm.
And not only that, but I found just like the deeper peace and serenity and joy for life when I approach it that way versus that lack of mindset. I've got to do more. I've got to be more. And you know,
Mhm.
it's just, it's stress for you, your body. It's not a way to really, for my preference, not a way to live. It's not sustainable. So yeah, the act of letting go and cleansing is so, so powerful.
But that's also yin and yang too.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yes, yes, yes.
Yang energy is more masculine, yin energy is more feminine. But I think we need both. It's not one or the other. Not one is better
Mm-hmm.
than the other. Where yang energy tends to, like, you got to do this, you plan this, and you're trying to execute it. Where yin energy is, you allow it to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just going between be and do. I don't know who said that. It's instead of be or instead of do be, do be, do be. And make sure you do both in a
Yeah.
balanced and harmonious way.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love that. Yes, and I think you're right. It is the yang and the yin, the feminine, the masculine kind of energy. And we live in a very yang world and culture. And for me, at least that's predominantly, even though I look I am feminine, I am a woman. In terms of work and creation, that was very much instilled in our culture and in my family of, work harder, do more with less, which we need, to be able to show up here and produce this show and talk with you. That's a huge part of it, but also that the balance of the feminine and the receiving and the surrendering. It's all about, you're right, the ebb and flow of
Mm-hmm.
the both. It's not just one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Banya, for coming on today. Was there anything else on your heart that you want to share before we start to close the show down?
Well, can I give an offer
Of
to your
course.
audience? Well, if people can sign up for a free clarity session, anyone coming through this, they can mention Loren and your podcast.
Awesome. We'll make sure that's all in the show notes as well. But thank you so much, Banya, for coming on. It was such an honor to share this space with you, to remember all of these age old wisdoms like being here now and the power of letting go. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Lauren.